people have said to me, well, it depends on resources or how many people you have. That determines.
And that's what I was going to ask you. You had mentioned the disciples with the limited fish and bread to feed so many. And that thing of significance, the perspective in the world is numbers and money and facilities make you significant, valuable. And as we know, traveling the world, let's say the majority of churches are smaller in number, and yet at times feel like one day will become, as if they're going to grow up and become something more. But I think it's what you've even touched on a little, if you could touch on it more, the significance of every church and that reality of being a base regardless of what you have, it's what you do with it. So.
Yeah, well, I think, again, just from observation, like you said, as we travel a lot and even speak to people, most guys' hearts, I think, are good. I mean, I don't know about everyone, but most people want to serve God and do the right thing. Most churches have leaders want to have that heart. I do have that heart. I think the danger in it is that, like you said, we've been taught that if you're a certain size or you have a certain amount of resources, then you can function. And that's brilliant, except it's not biblical. And I think it's another way the devil just gets us to think one day, which will never be. So, again, how big should your church be? I don't know, but I can't see that being the emphasis in the scriptures for churches to function as bases. I've debated and questioned a lot of the guys around the world as I travel, and they would say, well, these are the base churches in our country we believe in. I'll say, well, within our ranks. And I'll say, well, tell me what makes you say that. And they'll say, well, they've got their own building, big building, they're serving, they've got a lot of people, a lot of elders, they've got great resources and great finances. And I'm like, that's great, and those are awesome things, and we celebrate them, because without them, we obviously can't function. But in saying that, it doesn't mean they're a base because they have it.
Right.
A base is using what they have for their kingdom. So to have it doesn't mean you are it until you use it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other side, is that a lot of churches that aren't that significant in size or perception of how much they have, or who, most people would say, well, they're irrelevant. But to be honest, nothing's irrelevant in the economy of heaven. And we honestly believe that because it's a divine thing. But secondly, I think some of those churches, it's not about size, but some smaller churches can actually function, are functioning as more of a base than some of the churches that have everything. And it's not like any church that's big must be compromising. I don't believe that. And we got big churches in our ranks with resources that are functioning, and God keeps adding.
Yeah.
But I do think we have to break this mentality. You've got to be a certain size, you've got to be a certain amount. I think there are churches that don't have many people and don't have the finances like other churches. Maybe don't even have facilities that are functioning as bases, where many other churches that have everything are not functioning. And the difference is, what are we doing with what we've got?
Very good.
And so I just want to challenge you, if you're not thinking like that, you've got to begin to think like that. Otherwise, what's the point? You're going to become an irrelevant people. I do believe that. Maybe you'll serve the Lord, that's great, but you won't serve the purposes of God.
Right.
And I believe God's looking for churches that would be honestly open-handed. This is a season of release. We've talked about a lot of that. I feel God is releasing more of what He wants to give. But I'm challenged by that He will release it to those who are willing to release it. And that's resources, it's people, it's anointing, it's everything you give us, we're going to release it for the regions, the nations, and for your purposes. We're not going to hold back, fill our pockets. Doesn't mean we don't get paid. It just means the focus is not about getting paid. The focus is about how can we release what you give for your advancing of your kingdom.